At some point, being an influencer stopped being enough. The biggest creators on the internet, people who had already figured out how to turn attention into ad revenue, realized they were leaving a huge amount of money on the table. If you have 30 million loyal followers who trust your opinion, why are you just telling them to buy someone else's product? Why not sell your own? That shift is what we're looking at today. From a sports drink that became one of the fastest-growing beverage brands in history, to a lunch kit that ended up with the FDA involved, influencer brands have had some incredible wins and some spectacular disasters. Let's get into it. Prime hydration. If you want to understand how powerful an influencer brand can get, Prime is your case study. Logan Paul and KSI, two creators who had spent years beefing on the internet and then turned that beef into actual boxing matches, launched Prime Hydration in January 2022. The idea was simple. Take two massive fan bases, combine them, and aim it at the sports drink market. It worked almost instantly. Prime made $250 million in its first year. By 2023, it had reportedly hit $1.2 billion in sales. And for a brief period, it was outselling Gatorade at Walmart. Kids were hunting for limited edition bottles the way their parents used to line up for sneakers. A single can of Prime was resold on eBay for close to $1,500 at the height of the craze. Here's where things get interesting, though. All of that was built almost entirely on hype. The product itself, a sports hydration drink with electrolytes, wasn't dramatically different from anything already on the shelf. Once the novelty wore off, sales collapsed. By the first quarter of 2024, UK sales had fallen 50% year over year. Multiple lawsuits followed. A class action over caffeine labeling, an allegation of forever chemicals in the packaging, and a $68 million breach of contract suit from their own bottling partner, Refresco, who claimed Prime's orders had fallen so far below projections that it was a contractual violation. Prime is still active, but it's a very different story from 2022. It's a clean lesson in what happens when a brand is built on social media buzz rather than product quality. Eventually, the buzz fades, and what's left has to stand on its own. Feastables MrBeast, real name Jimmy Donaldson, is in a category basically by himself when it comes to YouTube. He has around 377 million subscribers, which is nearly triple the next largest non-brand-owned channel on the platform. So when he launched a chocolate bar brand in February 2022, the scale of the rollout was unlike anything the creator economy had seen. Feastables started with a simple pitch. Clean ingredients, better quality than your average candy bar, and the full force of MrBeast's audience behind it. That audience didn't just watch. They participated. QR codes on the packaging unlocked exclusive content and contests. Fans could win real prizes just by buying a chocolate bar. It turned retail into entertainment, and that's something no traditional candy brand knew how to compete with. By 2024, Feastables was doing $250 million in sales, over $20 million in profit to be specific. Because MrBeast's content business, as big as it is, lost $80 million in the same year. The chocolate brand isn't the side hustle. It is the business. What MrBeast built through Beast Industries, his YouTube videos plug Feastables. Feastables packaging promotes Beast Games. Beast Games drives people back to YouTube. Every piece feeds the next. The company has raised $450 million to date and has been valued at close to $5 billion. For context, that's not a YouTube channel with a side product. That's a consumer goods empire with a YouTube channel as its marketing department. Chamberlain Coffee. Emma Chamberlain started making YouTube videos in 2017 when she was 16. Her style was different from most creators at the time. Raw, unpolished, self-aware, with a heavy focus on her actual life rather than a performance of it. She built an audience of roughly 12 million subscribers, and one of the most consistent things in her content was her love of coffee. She wasn't just mentioning it, it was basically a personality trait. So in 2019, She launched Chamberlain Coffee. The beta run sold out within 24 hours. What she built from there was smarter than it looked. Instead of putting her face all over the packaging, she went with neutral branding and minimal design, the kind that could stand on a shelf next to any specialty brand. The goal was always for the product to survive without her, which is a higher standard than most influencer brands even try to meet. It worked well enough to get $15 million in investment funding, a retail expansion into Walmart, Target, and Whole Foods across more than 8,500 stores, and a first physical cafe that opened in Los Angeles in early 2025. Emma took on a co-CEO role in 2024, signaling that this was no longer just a brand attached to her name. It was a real company she was running. Revenue was around $22 million in 2024, and the brand was operating at a loss even after investors had put in over $19 million. For Chamberlain Coffee to survive long-term, it needs customers who've never watched a single one of Emma's videos. That's the challenge every influencer brand eventually faces, and it's one the coffee industry doesn't make easy. Happy Dad. The NELK boys are a Canadian-American content crew led by Kyle Forgard, known for prank videos and a lifestyle brand built around the phrase full send. After being demonetized by YouTube in 2017, they essentially stopped relying on platform revenue entirely and turned their audience into a direct-to-consumer machine. Merch drops, a podcast, and eventually their own alcohol brand. Happy Dad Hard Seltzer launched in June 2021, co-founded by Forgard alongside brothers Sam and John Shahidi. The market they were entering wasn't exactly empty. White Claw and Truly had already built the hard seltzer category into a multi-billion-dollar space. But Happy Dad didn't compete on advertising. They competed on culture. Every launch, every limited drop, every behind-the-scenes video turned the product into something fans felt ownership over rather than something they were just sold. While most hard seltzer brands saw double-digit declines in 2024 and 2025, Happy Dad posted double-digit growth. Industry reports ranked it in the top 4 nationally in Circana-tracked seltzer sales. The brand closed 2024 at 3.5 million cases and was targeting 5 million in 2025, expanding from wine and spirits distributors into major beer networks, including Walmart, Kroger, Circle K, and 7-Eleven. Revenue estimates put Happy Dad somewhere between $80 and $100 million annually, with the brand valued between $250 and $300 million. For a drink that launched without a single television commercial, at just a YouTube channel and a fan base, that's a serious number. What separates Happy Dad from a lot of influencer product plays? They weren't looking to cash out quickly. They wanted to build something that outlasts the content. Jake Paul has made a career out of being someone people underestimate. He started on Vine, moved to YouTube, spent years in near-constant controversy, pivoted to professional boxing, and somewhere in between all of that built a genuinely sophisticated business portfolio. His boxing promotion company, MVP, and most recently his men's personal care brand, WW, launched in June 2024, positioned as a better-for-you alternative to legacy men's grooming brands at accessible price points, sold exclusively through Walmart. The pitch to Walmart was essentially Jake Paul's audience, young men, 18 to 30, a demographic that rarely shops for personal care products on purpose. Having Jake meant Walmart had a reason to believe W could drive that consumer into stores. Within its first month, W had already crossed 7 figures in sales and was on track to hit $50 million in its first year. The brand raised $14 million in seed and Series A funding from a round that included Paris Hilton, Naomi Osaka, rapper Lil Durk, and the CEO of Celsius, among others. The valuation came in at over $150 million. And that's it for this video. I hope you learned something new about influencer brands. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. It really helps the channel grow. Also, comment down below what influencer brand topic you want me to cover next. And if you don't want to miss future videos like this, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.